and welcome to another episode of Worst Collection Ever. This is the show where we tell you about the worst comic book collection in existence, and it just happens to belong to us. I'm Jen.
And I'm Sean.
And here we are again.
We're back again.
With a regular episode.
Yeah.
More Mad Libs.
Yeah, I hope you guys,
not for now.
I hope you guys enjoyed our Mad Libs. We did.
I enjoyed our Mad Libs.
Yeah, those were a riot. A hoot, as one would say.
Definitely, I thought so.
The unique twist on our show and comics and comic. I think it's funny because we would do those and I would be like, oh yeah, these are like plausible stories that could happen. Like they're not that far off.
No.
I mean, maybe they are, but I think they're
all the dicks involved in our version.
Yeah, I know. There's too many genitals. Oh, sorry. Yeah, there's too many genitals in our story. Or just in our podcast in general. I feel like there should be a separate rating on iTunes for like explicit,
like
and then you have
G or like well, it couldn't be G for genital. What could it be?
Well, G for genitals.
Well, G is for general though.
No, they don't have a They don't have a general rating. They have E because they have.
But if you're looking at like TV ratings and movie ratings and you see a G.
But I'm talking just for iTunes.
I know, but wouldn't it be weird for them to just have G mean something else when it universally means general for everybody?
No, the world would have to conform.
Okay.
Apple's making us conform by calling iTunes Apple Podcasts.
That's true.
They could be like, hey, G stands for genitals. Okay.
We would have so many G's.
It would be like
5 G's.
It would be like E for explicit and G for genital.
Yeah. Lots of genitals.
There'll be a lot of genitals.
Yes.
Anyways.
So we're going to be back to normal this week. But we did go see Spider-Man.
We saw Spider-Man Homecoming. I think it was a great movie.
It was actually very enjoyable. I did not see the last two Spider-Man movies.
Yeah, we did.
No.
We saw the first
2 or 3 of them.
There's 2. We saw the first. So we saw the first.
So I didn't see the last.
We saw the one with Andrew Garfield, the first one.
The first one.
And then the second one came out, and I
did not see it.
Heard about it enough, but I've never had any desire to go see it.
Yeah.
So
I think my thing was I really didn't, with those last 2, the Andrew Garfield Spider-Man movies, I didn't want to reboot so damn soon. I was like, this is the same movie, just now his dad is like, I don't know, who was like some sort of like scientist or something with like people were after him or whatever, and that's why they were dead.
Yeah.
And I was just like, what? I don't care. I get really like, okay, so here's the thing that irritates me, it just in entertainment in general. And the X-Files did it, and I feel like ever since then we have just been stuck with this whole your family, your dad was doing something and now you have to do that something, and your children will now have to do that something.
Yeah.
Like, it's never just like, my dad sold insurance, but I just happen to be a superhero.
Yeah.
It's like, my dad was involved in horrible conspiracy, and now I am Fox Mulder, and I am involved in horrible conspiracy.
Yeah.
And now, it just continues on, and I hate it. I hate it so much. I'm just like, can't you do something that doesn't involve your parents?
Yeah.
So that, I really didn't like that in those Andrew Garfield Spider-Man movies.
Yeah, there wasn't a certain charm to it that I think made the Raimi series, at least the first 2, awesome.
Yeah.
And just there was something that was missing from it, and
but this one was fun. It was great. It was actually joyful.
It was very joyful.
There were funny jokes in it. Mm-hmm. They had funny people in it. Mm-hmm. Like Hannibal Buress was in there, and there were some other comedians in there.
Martin Starr was in it.
There. He was funny.
He's from Silicon Valley. I'm trying to think. I'm missing somebody else, but there's a few people in there that like there's some notable faces. Like Donald Glover obviously makes an appearance. His character is a bit more central to the story, but
Michael Keaton was great.
Michael Keaton's awesome. Like I will say this much: he makes the Vulture look like a badass, and I've always looked at the Vulture as from the standard story. So whoever the Vulture is, like I've growing up as a Marvel reader, throughout the 80s and 90s, like the Vulture was always this dude who was just this old dude. Mm-hmm. Just this old dude who was this bald old dude, looked like Strom Thurmond. But for some reason he was ripped and strong, and he had this suit with these wings, and I was like, well, what is his gimmick? Like, is that? I didn't realize it was a suit. I thought it was like, well, why is he? How did he become this vulture? You know, he's just got this thing, and he's obviously been around for years, but he's just this old dude, and it always kind of it always makes me think. I always put in the class of like, it was Sopranos. We got these old dudes who are super strong and can like do everything.
Yeah.
You know, because I feel like every Sopranos was like, old dudes are strong and could destroy you every time.
Somehow Tony is beating the fuck out of people instead of having a heart attack.
Look, Tony should have had 1,000,000 heart attacks.
Oh, absolutely.
But Tony, I will give James Gandolfini credit. You know, he's kind of like the kingpin kind of strength.
He's great. Yeah.
But like shit, like Robert Loggia and like Burt Young, fucking diving, fucking overpowering young dudes. I mean, granted, I've never fought an old man. Like legit fought an old man.
Who knows?
Of somebody, maybe Robert Loggia would murder me, or would have murdered me if he's still alive. I'm sure Brian Dennehy could fucking annihilate me.
Sure. I'm just talking like regular old man.
But they would say it because it's like, I mean, you can't tell me that
not old man who's still like fucking boxes every day.
And that's the thing. It's like but those guys never boxed every day. They sat around and ate wine and peaches.
Yes, fucking yes, they did. That's what you do.
But I mean, then the same. But anyway, it's like so.
You gotta eat peaches with a knife too. You gotta cut them.
You don't use a spoon?
No, but I mean, like, you don't just eat a peach like an apple.
Right, you cut it up.
You gotta cut it up. That's how you do it.
Is that the way?
That's the way. I don't
eat
the way. I don't know if you've ever noticed, but I always cut my fruit up like that.
Is that? Well, I can't eat a peach like in my hand. I'm just gonna get all over myself.
Yeah, no, you gotta cut it.
But that's the way your people.
It's the way of the people. Yeah.
The way.
It's the way of my people.
Anyways, Michael Keaton makes the Vulture badass.
Yeah, and he was great. I loved that he had a twist. It was a very twisted morality and a code of ethics, but it was still a morality and a code of ethics. This was his. It didn't change.
Yeah.
And it was consistent, and I appreciated that. I thought that was great. It wasn't just like, I'm evil for evil's sake.
Yeah,
like, you could understand where this character was
he's doing his business.
Yeah, and you're like, he's a complex villain. That's cool.
Yeah, actually, he was probably one of the most complex villains.
Yeah.
In a while.
Yeah.
In a Marvel comic. I mean, most Marvel
just in any movie, superhero bad guy.
Yeah.
He's probably the most that I can think of.
Yeah. Yeah. He's really insane, and it's Michael Keaton, so I mean, he's awesome.
Yeah, he's great.
He's just fantastic. And there's other, Easter eggs in this movie, and just the action. I think the action is not catastrophic.
Yes. Yeah, we were talking about that.
On a catastrophic level. It's very localized, but it's still very tense.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely action in it and stuff. I mean, but there's not like, the world is at stake again. All of the buildings are falling down. Oh my God, everyone is going to die. There's a big, giant hole over a city, which we've seen in quite a few of these superhero movies lately. There's none of that. It's a smaller villain, a smaller story, and I think it really works.
Yeah.
Especially for where Spider-Man is in his development in this movie. So I appreciated that. I appreciate it wasn't like, oh my God, world ending. It was just like low level, small, and it made for a really good story.
Yeah.
Which I appreciated. Yeah,
no, I mean, it really, definitely really helped, I think, establish him in the universe. And, and I think it made a lot more sense.
I think what else, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I think what also helps with setting him up that way, where he's younger, he's just doing low-level stuff, he really is trying to be the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, It also helps explain, like, the next time you have a huge Marvel, like, Avengers movie and he doesn't show up, or like, Thor, let's say, I know Thor's going to be in space. Let's say they do another...
Captain America,
and it's this huge world-ending, oh my God, blah, 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 blah. There's no question of, like, where is so-and-so? Yeah. It's like, obviously, he probably wouldn't be involved. Yeah. And it makes sense.
Yeah. No, and I think it works. I think it works the way they have it, and I think he's... it was a lot of fun. I was very happy. I was very happy with the movie.
You could see everything that was happening. Even in the dark, there were some dark, like, fight scenes at night. I could still see it. Yeah, yeah. Which was real. I really appreciate.
Yeah. No, it's great. It's a great movie. Yeah, go see it. Yeah. Check it out. Keep it in your bag and support it. What else have we done? I mean, I think we.
I don't know.
I feel like we, in a tangentially related superhero thing, we watched Keeping Up with the Joneses with Gal Gadot in it.
Yeah, and she was great.
She was being the
she was John Hamm's wife.
John Hamm's wife. That's a couple I want to see fuck.
That's a good looking couple.
Yeah.
I'm invested in that.
I'm gonna say that's saying I could be invested in a couple. That's the thing. If you're talking romantic comedy,
it's not. It just every time I see John Hamm, I'm just like, that's not even fair.
Yeah.
Like it's not like he took all the handsome.
He did.
He was just like, it's all for me.
Yeah.
And that's it. And you're just like, that's just not fair.
Yeah, that was an okay movie.
It was all right. It was fun.
Yeah,
it was kind of like Zach Galifianakis and
a thin beardless Zach or a trimmed beard Zach Galifianakis.
Yeah, when I first saw him, I was like, wait, that's supposed to be Zach Galifianakis. I was like, oh no, it is Zach Galifianakis.
And good on him, man. I mean, that guy's works his ass off to do things. And he had I think him hitting it with like the Hangover and stuff like that, thankfully that was a big thing, because I mean he was always kind of had like a cult following, but this kind of put him above that, and that movie put him above that, and it's great that he gets to do.
I feel like he can do whatever he wants to do now, which is great.
Yeah,
doesn't he live on like a farm somewhere?
Yeah, he lives on a farm somewhere, and he has any obligations to anybody,
right? And he just does what he wants.
He's just like,
but like it was him.
He's like Andre the Giant.
Yeah, it's him and
just living on a farm in North Carolina.
Was it Isla Fisher? Is that his wife?
I think it's Isla Fisher.
Isla.
I forgot how
Mrs. Borat.
Mrs. Borat.
The one thing I didn't like about their characters is that they seemed too naive to exist in a world where there are spies.
Yeah.
I was just like, what?
Some people are very naive, though.
I mean, maybe.
There are naive people. I feel like we know a few.
Well, we probably do.
So, yeah, we watched that. And then,
right.
there was also... Do you want to talk about The Circle?
Ugh. It was dumb.
That's a dumb, disturbing movie.
Yeah.
Don't go see it. Don't watch it.
I mean, Patton Oswalt was in it. Tom Hanks.
Patton Oswalt
actually a star-studded cast.
Patton Oswalt I think Patton Oswalt plays a great sleaze dude in that movie.
Does.
And I think that's a good role for him and other stuff.
Well, he was also in.
He's also in Keeping Up with the Joneses, but it's kind of more of a surprise thing.
Yeah.
But it was kind of like unexpected, so I was like, oh, he does really good at this.
Yeah.
And I kind of hope that he has more opportunities to do that. You know, I mean, it's because he's funny, but in The Circle, it's more serious.
Yes, which he was good too.
And but other than that, like that movie's just creepy. And
it's really upsetting, and it's got this cast. It's got like John Boyega's in it, and Emma Watson's in it, and Tom Hanks is in it.
Yeah.
And what's that redheaded woman?
Oh, Karen Gillan.
Yeah,
she's actually that's superhero related because she plays Nebula.
Yeah, she's in there.
She's pretty good. I like her.
Yeah, no, she was good, but it's
Bill Paxton's last role.
Yes.
R.I.P. Bill Paxton.
It is Bill Paxton.
And it sucks because that's not a good. I don't think it's a good movie, and I'm sad that it was. I'm sad that it was the way he went out. Mm-hmm. I mean, he did okay, but it still sucks.
I mean, he's barely in it, but still, it's not fun. It's not a
fun. Yeah, well, it's not supposed to be fun. It wasn't supposed to be fun.
But it's also one of those things that you're just like, wait, isn't this going to happen? And it doesn't. And
nope.
You're like, oh, so there's just no consequence.
There's no consequences in this world full of technology.
That's fine. Sure.
There's a point. There's something that happens in this movie that I feel like that move after that happens, the movie should just be like court proceedings.
Right? Just nothing but. It should just become a fucking episode of like Law and Order.
It should just be like a bunch of like C-SPAN hearings. Like it should just be that's how the movie should end.
Yeah.
And you should just be and it's just in the movie. And the movie just ends with you sleeping.
Yeah. Well, that's how the movie ended for me anyway.
It did actually. You had you had the alternate ending.
I sure did. I was like, oh okay.
So yeah, but so yeah, that's those are the things we watched, and I had other stuff I wanted to talk about, but I don't want to take too much. Maybe I'll do it next week. I want to talk about my video game adventures as of recent.
Okay.
Because I figured out how to work an emulator.
And you're so excited.
I'm very excited. So I've been having some video game adventures, including some lousy Marvel and DC games that I might actually indulge in a bit more, just to kind of report back more on it.
Okay.
Because it's actually, and maybe I might have to have you join me in a few of these and see what you think.
What, like a special episode of where we talk about these things?
Oh no, we could just kind of do like this beginning here, and maybe kind of play a few of these and see. I want to see what you think. Because for instance, like there's a Superman game for NES.
Oh,
it's not
the one for N64.
No, not the N64, but there's just a regular Superman game for NES that is.
Can you download the Batman Forever game?
You can download it. I can download any game. I can do anything I want. I'm the king. I'll tell you this.
We'll have to play them.
I'll tell you this. I downloaded my game. I figured out how to get this thing working. I was like, I'm the smartest dude. I was just like, I don't know. I moved things around. I figured out files.
So proud.
I did something and now it works. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm the greatest. And because now I have that ability to scratch that itch.
Yes.
And just play because I didn't want to have. And I know, look, emulators, it's not the same as having the actual cart and saving your progress and being able to do that. But I don't care. I just want to have.
You just every once in a while just wanted to play.
I just want to have some fun, and I have that option, and I'm good. So, But we'll talk about that. Maybe we'll talk about that next week. So, all right, let's take a break, and we'll come back with our book.
It's the Film and Water Podcast. The Film and Water Podcast covers movies new and old, classic and not so classic. Proud member of the Fire and Water Podcast Network. Available weekly on fireandwaterpodcast.com and on iTunes and Stitcher.
All right, we're back here in our worst collection ever with our book for this week. It is Skrull.
Nope.
I can't say the words. I can't say this word.
Skrull.
Look, Skrull Kill Krew, number 2 from October 19. And I want to say 95. Because
This is very 90s. So pick a day. It doesn't really matter. Pick a year.
I want to say 90. It's going to probably be 95. Let's say 95. Okay.
Brought to you by Marvel Edge.
Yeah,
that's right.
Well, here's the thing. So in late 90, so 95, Marvel decided to split up their books into their lines into different, into distinct lines.
Imprints,
imprints, but but they were all Marvel pretty much, and everything was still connected. But at the same time, they had to kind of separate it. So you had all the X-Men books, you had all the Avengers books, you had all the Supernatural books like the Midnight Suns shit, and then you had the 2099 stuff, and then you had Marvel Edge, which was basically where they threw everything else.
Right.
So you had I think the Midnight Suns stuff might have been in this too, but I know Punisher was in here, and the Hulk was in here, and Ghost Rider and all that stuff. So it was all kind of separated, and that's how they did it.
Yeah.
And this is Daredevil was in this group, and so they call it Marvel Edge because it's the 90s. We're in the mid 90s, and everything is
extreme with an X.
It's extreme to the fucking max.
Yes.
And this is my favorite decade. It is. It's my favorite decade.
I know.
I feel like I would, if I had to choose the time to live culturally forever, I would live probably between 87 to 95.
Fair enough.
Maybe 96.
All right. I can see that.
I think I can handle that.
Okay.
So I would live for that, and because you're still getting mullets, you're still getting ugly things, but you're also
got some great music going on.
But you got some great music. You got some cool. I don't know. You got, at least for comics too. Like, I don't know. This is
everything's extreme.
I'm just saying, or even before that, you had your Marvel and DC shit. I mean, it just feels it's nostalgic to me, and that's where nostalgia is to me.
Well, of course, yeah.
But anyway, so this book, Skrull Kill Krew. Now, I've heard about it, and I heard about the concept. And are you familiar with the concept?
Well, he does explain a little bit.
Yeah, so they do explain it a bit more.
One of the characters. I was not familiar until the character explained it to me.
Yeah, so basically what happened is at some point in the very early... Actually, I think in the second issue of Fantastic Four, where the Skrulls are introduced to when they fight the Fantastic Four.
Well, they talk about it in here. Do you want to talk about it?
I guess we'll talk about it. I guess we'll get to it then. Yeah, we'll get to it then. But basically,
Basically, this is a crew that goes around killing Skrulls that are hiding amongst humans.
Yeah.
So that's all you have to know for right now.
And it's a precursor to the whole secret invasion thing that became, a big story and everything like that in the actual Marvel, in the Marvel mythos. But these guys do come back for that.
Oh, okay.
A little bit. They come back as like heads in jars too, something like that.
Okay.
It's just something stupid.
This whole book is stupid.
Well, this is a dumb book.
Yeah, it's dumb.
It's dumb as shit, and it's written by Grant Morrison.
Well, that explains.
So that explains a lot of things. Grant Morrison and Mark Miller. Mm-hmm. This has got weirdness all around it. And I read the concept, and I was like, I'm going to check this out. And I didn't realize that they had this in a trade.
Yeah, which you found.
And I found this at, and I talked about this a couple episodes ago, about how we went to
Pulp Fiction
in Long Beach, and I picked this up for cheap.
Yep.
So I'm actually very glad, because now I get to read this, and I read it through. So
yep,
it's dumb.
Yes.
Dumb as shit. So anyway, so the cover says, "Don't ask, just buy Skrull Kill Krew." And on the cover, you have a bunch of guns pointed at Captain America, who's in the forefront here, jumping at somebody with a shield. And you got, so this is Ryder.
Behind him on a bike.
On the bike, it's Ryder. With a black guy.
He's the leader of this group.
Yeah, he's a leader. He's a big, muscular black dude with long dreadlocks and sunglasses. And then you have, I think it's Moonstomp and Dice on a bike behind him.
But don't forget Riot's here too.
Oh, Riot's here too. That's right. Yeah, Riot's in the back.
And Riot to me looks like Annie Lennox with spiked hair.
Yeah, she's pretty much, that's what she is.
Yeah, with the punk spiked hair, not just when they're like really long and they stick out a lot. Yeah, like that.
There's a big plane in the background here that you can't just be obscured by the logo.
Yeah, you can't really tell.
In the front here, in the front corner, it says, guest starring, whether he likes it or not, Captain America.
That's right.
That's right. He's going to be in this book.
Sort of.
You stupid jerk.
So
we're going to sell. I'm surprised Wolverine wasn't in this comic.
I'm surprised he wasn't either.
Because that's how they sell comics. They go Wolverine, Punisher,
Captain America.
Well, I mean, I guess Captain America. I'm surprised. I mean, I think maybe they didn't want to muck up the other continuities that were going on, because it's like you can't just have a random book. Or at least the editors. It's probably an editorial choice where somebody was like, "Hey, can we have Wolverine in this book?" And they're like, "No." You can have Captain America in this book. He's not doing anything.
Surprised anybody ever says no to Wolverine. I feel like he ends up in every book.
They do, but not everybody wants to say it. It's kind of like it's a secret ingredient.
Do you think there's like an algorithm?
And there is. That's exactly what it is. That's exactly how they do it. They go, okay,
nope. Max, we have reached Max Wolverine for the month.
Yeah,
he can't visit anybody else's.
Yeah, that's how it is.
Wish DC would figure that one out with Batman.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's that. And then so in the beginning we have the Skrull kill Krew, and they're standing around. Ryder's like.
Well, from the previous issue, they just
must have killed a bunch of people.
Well, what happened was they were introduced to, because there was a Skrull guy, Skrull woman, or Skrull person that was some Skrull who was tracking Riot, and so what was going on is that Dice. Ryder, Moonstop, and Dice have been following, going around the country, trying to find all these Skrulls. Mm-hmm. Dice is from California, so somehow they managed to drive across the country just in time to New York to interact with Riot, who's
right.
And what's happening is like
they end up in DC.
Yeah, they end up in DC, which makes more sense.
Sure.
But so what happens is that these people. Like Dice and Riot, like they're able to like see Skrulls.
Yeah.
Like all of a sudden they start seeing Skrulls and shit starts happening.
And they have like the ability to kind of like transform and stuff.
Well, all of them have the ability to transform, and some of them have more unique abilities.
Yes.
To do stuff. Like for instance, Ryder he can transform his hands into. Everybody can transform their hands into weapons and stuff like that. But he's got this thing he could do with his hair. Like he's got monster hair.
Okay.
Moonstomp. I forgot what Moonstomp does, but he has like a hammer that he just runs around with. And then Dice has a thing where his body can adapt to whatever situation he's in. So, because then when he first debuts, he ends up like on a surfboard and he ends up having a spaz, and he falls into the water, and all of a sudden he grows gills.
Oh, okay.
And then Riot can turn into like a giant bug. Thing, that sort of thing. So anyway, they're all like trying to figure out, oh my god, we killed some people. And,
and she's all upset about it. And I would like to just say that Ryder is a complete asshole, mostly to her.
Yeah,
she's the only woman on the team, and he's a huge fucking dick to her.
Yeah,
he's a dick to everybody, but like everybody else, they'll be like, hey, I want this, because they choose names later. She's not Riot yet. And when that happens, he's like, yeah, everybody else is fine, but he like gives her a bunch of shit for her name, which is just fucking stupid. Who
cares what their names are? You guys are
fuck
just...
this guy. So anyway, she's like, oh my god, I killed all these people. He's like, I don't want to hear about a cupcake or whatever. Sweetheart is what he calls her.
Yeah.
And then...
I don't know anybody that ever does that.
What, calls anybody sweetheart?
Sweetheart or honey. Like men that do that. I don't know.
I think it's like an older guy.
It's definitely an older guy thing, and I've run into a few people that do that, like a few guys my age that do it, and it's just weird.
Yeah, I've never seen that. I've never had anybody call me sweetheart or honey.
I don't even call you sweetheart.
Who's not like my... I'm sure my mom might call me sweetheart, but like just like a random dude. No.
I don't even call you that.
No.
I call you babe.
Yes, that's true.
You are.
I also call you babe.
Yeah, but I feel like that's the new.
That's like our thing.
The new thing. Well, that's what a lot of couples sing.
Yeah.
It's easier to say babe instead of going,
Sean.
honey.
Yeah, honey.
Sweetheart. Darling.
Yeah, I don't know. That's kind of weird. But I've never had like a random dude do that.
Baby.
I'm sure it happens.
Just one syllable.
Does not happen to me.
One syllable.
So he's calling her sweetheart, and she's like, I don't know. Am I a superhero now? And then as that's happening, Dice goes over to Moonstomp. It's like, hey, that's a nice bike. And he kind of like touches it. And Moonstomp has like a fucking fit.
Well, he starts having a spat.
And they're like, oh my God, I think I pissed him off. What's going on? And he just like, I don't know. He kind of like Elastic Man's everything. And he becomes like a weird silly putty looking guy wearing pants. Because there's his pants.
Yeah.
And there's his silly putty body.
Yeah, somehow his pants are like not shredded.
Yeah, everything else, I don't know. He looks really weird. He just goes blah and like expands in like a really creepy way. And they're like, oh no. And so she's like, okay, I'm going to, Riot's like, I'll stop him. And she says, oh well, she's changing. And she says, oh well, this is so horrible, but it feels terrific. Which I'm like, what? That's gross.
Yeah, it's but hey, if you're, it's if you have those powers,
I guess.
As long as I feel like if you have a sort of power like that, as long as you can keep it under wraps, and not be like out in public going like,
yeah,
and then it's kind of cool. So they're trying to calm him down.
She slaps him across the face.
Yeah, she slaps him,
and gets knocked out, and Ryder gets all pissed. He's like, eh.
Well, what the hell was he gonna do? Isn't doing shit.
I'm like, he's freaking out. What else are you gonna do with him?
Yeah.
So
now we jumped out. Now we're in DC, and now we're in
an airport.
A weird. This is weird.
This is a strange one because they're in an airport, right?
Yeah, he's in the airport. He's like an airport. We're in an airport diner.
Just like a fucking waiting for your plane airport cafeteria.
So he's like we're in like McDonald's.
Yeah. And so Captain America is like playing hide and go seek with a child who's far too old to be amused by hide and go seek, or not hide and go seek, peekaboo.
He's playing peekaboo with a kid who looks like he's 15.
And he's like, he's put his shield in front of his face, and he's
because it goes like one shield's just a shield, and then he moves the shield away, and he's like, hey,
yeah.
And then somebody's like, I knew that was Captain America.
And the kid's like, oh yeah, man, that's awesome. But I'm like, wouldn't you be doing that to a baby? Like,
and he's waving.
That kid's way too old for this.
And there's this waitress just swooning over him.
She's like, oh, he's so good with kids. Oh, I wish I could find a man like that. Sure.
Yeah, and so he's sitting there, and then Hoss Bonaventure shows up to sell him some boiled denims. Or whoever, I don't know where this guy is.
Yeah, he's just some guy in a cowboy hat.
He is Senator Barton. He's a senator with a cowboy hat.
Yep. So I'm assuming
cowboy hat senator. Oh boy.
Representing the great state of Texas.
He's representing something.
Got to be Texas.
Yeah, and so he's sitting there. They're sitting there, and there's I think some secret agents or something.
Yeah, who were like, the waitress is like, can I get you more coffee? And the guy's like, I don't want any more coffee. And the other guy's like, yes, we want all the coffee.
Because they've been waiting.
They've been waiting for a very long time.
They've been waiting and just watching him, and they're kind of watching. Yeah, so he's a Texas guy.
Yeah, so he sits down with Cap, and he's like, what you eating there, Cap? And he's like, apple pie. Because what the fuck else would Captain America be eating?
Captain America shouldn't be eating carbs.
Well, he's eating, he's an American apple pie guy.
He should be eating.
He's eating nothing but hot dogs, hamburgers, and apple pie.
It'd be funny if he's sitting there. He's like,
probably can't shit very well.
Captain America can't shit.
I mean, he is an old man. He should be eating nothing but prune juice.
He should be eating a wicker basket.
Should be prune juice and soft foods. No taste, very bland old people food.
You should be eating, it'd be funny if he was there and he was like, I'm eating borscht.
I'm imagining that Captain America would probably eat like my dad. He'd be like, oh, root beer barrels.
Yeah, we've discussed in the show before. Yeah. Your dad eats like a 12-year-old, 10-year-old boy.
But a 12-year-old stuck in 1952.
Yeah, so he's eating marmalade whatevers.
Yeah.
And so whatever, these guys are watching him, and then, because they're waiting at the airport for some, guy,
there's a head of some country.
Yeah, some country.
He's the president of some country, and he's on apparently a commercial flight. From London to DC.
Yeah.
Also on board with this model woman.
Yeah.
Who kind of looks like a proto Harley Quinn.
She's got this weird. She has she has ponytails, really sticked out ponytails.
Yeah.
And then she has
pigtails
in the front of her head.
Yeah.
Her pigtails, yeah, she has front ponytails and pigtails.
Yeah.
It's all like this weird ass hair, and apparently she's like the big model.
She's a
big,
supermodel.
She's a top model.
And whatever. So she's kind of a bitch.
As evidenced, by she's wearing, yoga pants and
a bustier
and a leather jacket.
Yeah. And she's like a bitch. And she's like, I want my water, whatever. And so she storms off, and she's like, if I don't get my water, I'm firing my agent. He's like, okay. So she goes into the bathroom and she feels sick. And she looks, and her hand is kind of like transforming, and her face is kind of transforming into a cat.
Yeah.
And then she sits down and she's like, oh my God, what's happening to me? And then she's human again.
Yeah, because she had the Skrull deal.
So as that's going on, there's a stewardess, a flight attendant talking to another flight attendant, and some guy approaches them. He's like, oh, you need to sit down because we're going to be landing soon. He's like, no, I'm sticking up this plane, and so is this other flight attendant.
Yeah.
So terrorists have taken over a plane, and they're like, we control the plane now. And I don't really understand why, if you were a terrorist, why you would take it over at the end of the flight. I mean, I get it that you're trying, but...
Well, because I think what they need to do, whatever they're doing, the business is happening there. So they want to be like, all right, now we took it over.
I get that, but if you have to go any farther than where you are, like, your plane's almost out of fuel by the time you get there. You've just flown across the Atlantic Ocean.
Uh-huh. Oh, yeah.
So... I'm sure there must have been a better way. Anyway, whatever. I'm not going to tell these terrorists how to do their job.
Terrorist plot is not well thought out, guys.
It's not logistically sound. So then we're back with our crew here, and they're giving themselves names.
Yeah.
And this is where she's like, I'm Riot, and I'm Dice. And he's like, why are you Moonstomp? And he's like, you've never heard of the skinhead Moonstomp move? And you're like, oh. What? Why do you want to be called that? Are you a Nazi?
Yeah,
sure.
He's a British nationalist.
Great.
Whatever. He's a cheerful dude.
Sure. So yeah. So now they have names.
So he gets to be called. This guy could be called Ryder. He also I just noticed he also has like a shirt, a Skrull kill crew shirt.
Right.
He's the only one that has that.
Would you wear that around?
I'd wear that.
No, I mean, like, if you were out to kill Skrulls, wouldn't you want to be a little bit more on the DL?
Well, think about his gimmick, though, is that he just shows up and just shoots you.
Okay.
Like, in the first issue of this book,
But isn't it just like they're wandering around and they can just see them?
Right, and he sees them and he shoots them, so the Skrull doesn't have time to turn around and go, oh, look at that guy's shirt, dead. That's how it goes.
I'm assuming that he just never gets surprised by them, then.
I don't know. I mean, he's apparently, this guy's... I mean, I think it's just more about his attitude, because he's... Yeah. Whatever. So they're like, okay...
make him like a Blade type guy.
So this is where they explain what happens?
Nope, not until they're on the bikes.
Oh, that's right. So they're like, let's go to Washington.
So oh my God, we gotta go to Washington, and that's where Captain America is, and they're like, oh shit, the plane's getting taken over, and that's when those dudes who've been drinking all the coffee stand up, and they're like, no, Captain America, you can't fight us because we'll kill this waitress.
Yeah.
Which is basically, that's all you really need to know about that. Oh, the kid tries to punch them, but the kid gets his ass.
Well, the kid's still playing peekaboo.
Yeah, he's a 15-year-old kid who's amused by peekaboo. So either he's dumb or high.
Wait, do they finish this here? No, we still got time here. No. Okay.
So now we're on the bikes and we're driving to Washington.
Yeah, don't be stupid if you're something like that's happening. I don't know. I feel like, what? I've never been in a situation like that.
That's probably good.
I feel like I'm grateful that I've never been in like a hold up or anything like that.
What, you're not gonna like tough guy it?
No,
I had a gun. Boo boo boo.
Well, no, I mean, because if everybody else's life was in danger, you might want to stop it. Like if you're in the middle of a bank.
Wouldn't it be great if you could do that? But you're not trained to do that.
I'm not trained to do anything.
Therefore, you would probably end up hurting somebody else making the situation.
I'd be like, I'm gonna throw this pen and it'll just throw and hit somebody else.
Like good guy with a gun fantasies are bullshit.
Yes, they are. Yes, they are.
If you're not seriously, if you're not trained for that, you could just make this situation fucking worse.
Well, that's another thing. Actually, I mentioned this to you when we were watching the movie. Like why I liked Spider-Man: Homecoming, because he's doing his swinging.
Yeah.
And he's just landing on rooftops, but also landing in like, he's just not that good at landing places.
He just falls.
Especially if he's like not in like a city. Yeah. If he's like in suburbia or something like that. Because there's that one point where like and it's funny where because you always wonder, it's like Spider-Man's just shooting his fucking webs, and he's always catching something and swinging on something. Doesn't matter what, you don't see what he's swinging off of, but he's there. And he's just like he's out in the middle of a field, and he
turns to do it, and it's nothing there,
and it just goes far away, and he's like, oh shit, where do I go? You know, you know, what do I do? And he has to run through a field, you know,
which I did like that.
Yeah, that makes sense. So, but yeah, that'd be me. That would be me in a superhero situation. I'd be like, I'm gonna do something. Dead.
Yeah.
Fall.
Yeah. Don't do that.
Clump.
So
this is where we get the story.
This is where we get the story, and because Ryder seems to have some sort of telepathy going on.
Yeah.
He's like, so let me tell you what happened. So the Fantastic Four battled some Skrulls.
Yeah. They
were victorious. Instead of killing them, they hypnotized them into believing they were cows.
Moo.
And left them in a field.
Mm-hmm.
Later on, the Avengers get to fight these same Skrulls who realize they are not cows. And the Avengers were victorious. So they handed these aliens over to the government, who once again
the government
were cows.
The government were like, now you're back to being cows.
Yeah. So by the way, we're just gonna put you in the slaughterhouse and inject you, or like introduce you into our meat supply.
Yes.
Into our literal food supply. So they killed the Skrulls.
But here's the thing too. So there's a scene here, and I don't know if this is what this is, because when they shoot these Skrulls,
yes,
they turn back into Skrulls.
Yes.
They turn back into the actual Skrull, into a Skrull. So it's not like
they don't look like a cow.
So it's like when you shoot somebody, when this butcher shoots a Skrull cow in the head, and they go to grab the Skrull, the what they think is a cow, and it's a Skrull. Why aren't they like, ew, it's a green alien that I killed?
I guess they must have been in on it, but it doesn't really make a lot of sense why they would be okay with this, or why the government would think this was okay.
Yeah.
Because they send them to the slaughterhouse, they get butchered as Skrulls and ground up and put into hamburger patties.
Yeah.
And then shipped out to the stores so everybody can eat them.
Yeah, and
that's a problem.
Right, and so basically
that's a horrible idea.
Yeah, and so basically
this is like mad cow disease, except it's Skrull disease.
Well, this was around the time when mad cow disease was a thing.
Yeah, and it was much bigger over in Europe too, so that may be why Grant Morrison was writing it.
Grant Morrison probably was like, "Hey, let's do like a what if the Skrull? Are there any cows in the Marvel universe that we could eat that nobody?"
And there's no bat cow in this universe. That'd be fun. He could just appear.
Well, there's like people in cow costumes. There's the one woman, I think her name is Bova, and she's she's like a cow, but like
cow woman.
A cow woman. She's like a BoJack Horseman cow.
Does she have a cow head?
Yeah, she has a cow head, but she's like a midwife.
Does she have a sexy lady body?
I've never looked at her body.
I've never seen her. I don't know.
I know she has a cow head, and she was lived in Wundagore, where Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver were raised.
Okay.
So she's kind of was a midwife to them.
Does she have hands or hooves?
I think she had hoovy hands. I don't know.
How do you pick up a baby with hooves for hands? How do you open up a bottle?
I don't know.
You don't have a thumb. These are important questions.
These are good questions. I didn't know how. You know what?
How do you change a diaper with a hoof hand?
This is something that that our buddy Russell can do some research on, because he likes to do the research on that.
True.
I feel like because I feel like
I'm sure there's a lot of information about how to change a diaper if you don't have hands.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, maybe.
Yeah. Actually, can I Google that? How to change a diaper without hands?
Maybe. I mean, I'm sure it's possible.
Can I change it with my mind?
Yeah, that'd be helpful, wouldn't it?
So basically what happens is a bunch of people ate this meat. A bunch of people died horribly.
Yep.
As expected. And then some people are like...
Some people were completely immune to it, didn't bother them, because there's now a Skrull virus in the meat supply.
So basically all these people, they were affected by the Skrull virus, and now they have these powers, but also they're having this awful disease eat their brain.
This disease eats your brain. It is terminal, because they're like, why don't we just go to this hospital? And they're like, we can't cure it. So what's going to happen is you're going to have seizures, which is what I had earlier when I turned into Silly Putty Man.
Yeah.
And eventually we're all going to die. So on the way to dying, we're going to take some Skrulls with us.
Yeah.
Because now Skrulls can shapeshift, but because we have this virus, we can see them. And so we're just going to start killing.
Yeah.
And
this is where the kid gets slapped.
Yeah. So now we're back at the diner.
This kid all of a sudden sounds 8.
Yeah, this kid's much younger than 15.
Well, he was playing peekaboo. That de-ages you.
I guess.
That's how that works.
Is that how that works?
That's how Stan Lee's been living so long. Because he's been playing peekaboo Captain America, and he does it every peekaboo takes off a year.
Oh, I see.
So he's been like, hey, Steve, need to have you. Let's bring it down a couple 10 years. I need to live forever.
He will live forever. So
actually, by the way, I want to point out his cameo in the Spider-Man movie was good, and I'll say it was probably one of the most plausible ones I think I've seen, where it's like where you're like, oh look, it's Stan Lee, and it makes sense that he would be in this situation, not some like
he's not delivering packages. He's not 93.
He's not like working some job. He's not like a friggin' like a club DJ. Like you know, and like I think it's Deadpool, right? Yeah. So I mean, this
Deadpool's ridiculous though, and I think
Deadpool's ridiculous. And I guess if you want to put him in that position, great. But I mean, as far as being like, there's a few of them that are like this, where it's just like, oh, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Anyways.
So kid gets slapped.
And Captain America.
And then
goes
they
to
look
action.
after the kid gets slapped. They're like, "Wait, where'd Captain America's shield go? Oh, he already threw it." And it just like whacks the dude in the face. And the other one's like, "Don't punch me!" Too late. Captain America's punching. And so then he's like, "I'm off." And the waitress is like, "I want to have his babies. Oh my god!"
Captain America's so great, guys.
So Krew gets there. And just as they get there, they see a bunch of people rolling out a red carpet, and they're like, "Oh, that was probably not for us. Let's hide behind this thing."
Yeah.
And watch to see what happens. So they do. And they see Captain America. Is he on the roof?
He's somewhere. He's somewhere waiting.
Sure. So Captain America is somewhere waiting. Whoever gets out of the limo, oh my god.
It's Baron Strucker.
It's Herr Strucker. Oh my god, Nazis in America. What would that be like?
I know.
Gee, I don't know. So yeah, so that's who shows up, and everybody's giving him a Heil there at the end.
Yeah. And that's it. Hail Hydra.
Hail Hydra, Nazis, etc. So that's the end of that one.
Yeah. That's the end of Skrull Kill Krew number 2.
How long did this go on?
Oh, this only went on for as long as this book is.
So what, like 7 issues, 6 issues?
I think 6 issues.
Okay. And then it just was over.
It was
Did
just
they all
over.
Die?
Oh, I forgot. Oh, God. Basically, like, I think some of them died and some of them were brought back.
Okay.
Because when the Skrull invasion storyline showed up, Secret Invasion was going on, they brought these guys back to do stuff.
Oh, sure. But I mean, like, in this book, do they die?
No. Nobody dies in this book.
Okay.
It just kind of ends. It's like, it's just left open-ended.
Oh.
Okay. They really don't. No. It's just whatever. It's just a thing that they wanted. I'm pretty sure it's just a thing that Mark Miller and Grant Morrison just wanted to try and just mess around with, and they got it out of their system, and here it is. And maybe it will come back, and maybe it wasn't popular enough, so they just were like, okay, we're not going to keep this going, but maybe it was just intended to be a short series, and that's it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, that's fine.
And I mean, I'm assuming you've already read the next issue.
I've read this whole thing.
I don't think I would read the next issue.
No.
I don't care about this. I think to me, this is ridiculous.
Not in a good way?
Not in a good way. Not in the ridiculous way that I love. And I don't know. I think this like overly macho, I'm gonna kill people, man.
Well, that's the thing. This is indicative of the 90s and how this goes. It's 100% supposed to feel like that.
Oh, I know. And it does its job if that's what they're intending, but it's not for me.
Yeah?
Which is fine.
Yeah, not for everybody.
Yeah, not for everybody, but check it out if you can find it.
I do like this this title on the back of the world's most hateful comic magazine.
Yeah, that's probably right.
It's about right.
Yep.
Yeah, a lot of hate going on in this issue.
Pew 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 pew, guns, explosions, and death. So yeah, I mean, if you want to see a bunch of people killing some Skrulls, pick this one up.
Yeah, check it out. And I guess that's it for this week's show.
Yeah, I mean, on the cover here, hold on.
The cover is actually it's kind of fun.
Yeah, it says Skrull Kill Krew. Buy this book, and the word "or" is crossed out, and is written on top of it. It says, "and we shoot this Skrull."
It's kind of like the cover of that National Lampoon thing where it's like, buy this record or we'll shoot this dog.
Yeah.
It's basically that.
Yeah.
So, but it's a stupid book.
Yeah.
And if you
like stupid books.
If you like stupid books, this is for you.
Yeah.
I guess
if you like dick swinging, this is for you.
It definitely. Yeah. If you like Captain America playing peekaboo, that's a thing too.
That's right. With children too old to be amused by peekaboo.
I'm telling you, that kid actually was Stan Lee.
Oh yeah, no, I think you're right.
You can play. It's like the Futurama thing where everybody keeps getting de-aged.
Oh yeah.
That's how that works.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's actually that's why I picked this issue, because I was like, this is too dumb, and I want us to talk about that. But then the rest of this book is dumb. So
yes, the whole thing's dumb.
Yeah. So we're back in fine form. This is a terrible
absolutely.
book and a terrible collection of books.
Yeah. No.
So,
no one should own this.
But I do.
But we do. Isn't that fun?
And I probably might have to find the rest of these, the rest of the other appearances, because I like to be a completist.
I know you do.
I like to be complete.
I know.
So that's it for this week's show, folks. Thanks for listening. You can find myself on Twitter and Instagram at Angry Hero Sean, SHAWN is how you spell Sean.
And I'm at Jen Stansfield on Twitter and Instagram, jenstansfield.tumblr.com, and jenstansfield.wordpress.com.
Okay.
I was going to say find us on Facebook.
Yeah, find us on Facebook. Worst Collection Ever. Also email us at worstcollectionever@gmail.com.
Yeah.
And also on Apple Podcasts, please rate, review, subscribe, and tell a friend. Give us 5 stars if you think we deserve it, and make sure you get us up in those ratings so it improves our visibility. That would be really appreciated. And rate and review the show wherever you get the podcast, Stitcher, TuneIn, wherever you get your podcasts. That's the best way. So I guess, is there anything else? I feel like we're missing something.
I don't think so.
I feel like I had...
I mean, fuck Nazis, but other than that...
Yeah, fuck the Nazis.
Other than that, I don't know.
Fuck racism, fuck the Nazis, fuck Baron Strucker.
Yeah, fuck that guy too.
Let's end on that. All right, folks. We'll talk to you next time. Thanks for listening.
Bye.